JDX, they've arrived. The aliens are here. JDX, they've come to save us. Save us from ourselves. JDX, masters of the universe.
Well, hello. Not sure which way is up or down. Oh yeah, I know which way is up or down. That's up or down. It's me. What I want to do today is work on repairs to the broken Spark. Da da da. You saw footage on this yesterday, which I will put. Oops, just adjust this. Which I will put at the start of this video, so that we can see how it happened and why it happened, etc. It happened. So what I did, I made some. Hang on a sec. I made some minor repairs with some tape. So what we're going to do now is undo the tape and fix it up properly. So that's a really cool cover. This is the DJI Spark, a 4-prop, very light. Unfortunately, still over 300 grams. So I've got to get the remote pilot license for drone here in Australia to be able to fly this legally. If it's under 300 grams, then you don't need to get an RPEL, remote pilot license, but because it's just over 300 grams with the battery, then yeah, I got to get the drone license. So I smashed it twice. Twice. Oh my gosh. It's still a pricey little item, you know, so I'm not very happy with myself for smashing it twice. And this cover got busted. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and buy a replacement online, and I'll do a repair on it now. So you can see there's a little camera in there with I can see it really well there, but maybe get that angle. So yeah, there's a camera in there with some I think they're infrared lights or LEDs, just to give it a bit of help with navigation when it's close to objects. So this has been smashed and there's a crack in it, but overall it still flies, because I took it out for a bit of a I took it out for a fly after the smash, and it still flew pretty well. I think my camera is drifting a little tiny bit up there. Yeah, so I've smashed it and I want to repair it now. So I did a repair. Actually, you know what? I'll show you what I did last time. So when I did an investigation on this item here, this is my Frankenstein lens. I call it the Frankenstein. It's an anamorphic lens at the front, and then a Canon, what is it, an FD, it's a really old lens, but man, so sharp, FD 75 to 200 telephoto. The reason I'm using a telephoto lens with this anamorphic lens is that the vignette is reduced or almost eliminated from using a long focal length lens like that. image coming in from the anamorphic is then kind of accommodated nicely with this telephoto at 75. Because of the crop factor with the mirrorless EOS-M3, which I'm using with this, it's a 1.6 times crop factor because of the smaller sensor in the camera, and that means that this actually turns it into like a 150 perhaps mil lens at the zoomed out setting, 75. So it's going to be a bit more than that, maybe 160, 170. You could do the maths, I'm just too lazy. So yeah, that works reasonably well as a widescreen camera lens. I'm really, you'll see footage on that when we take a video of the remote control cars. Yeah, that's the lens I'm using with that, and it's actually quite versatile. If I put that, so this luckily does a 180 degree turn. So when I'm zoomed in to the minimum distance, 1.8 meters, and I zoom in and then I adjust the focus on the anamorphic lens, I can get to around about 4.5, 5 feet closest to get focus on. And if I want to go longer distance, I just turn that 180 degrees, exactly 180, to infinity, and then set my distance for appropriate feet with the anamorphic. I can get in focus for things beyond 6 feet up to infinity. So it covers the range nicely just by changing the focus on the taking lens, this zoom lens, and luckily it's a 180 degree full turn from one to the other, because the anamorphic lens at the front, I don't know if you can see it or not, but in the front, that element there, when I turn it, you see how it's turning? That's the anamorphic lens shape. It's kind of gathering all the light and in one plane and then leaving the other plane alone. So the vertical and horizontal planes are affected differently. Yeah, so that's what the anamorphic lens does. It makes it a widescreen view. And the reason I brought this out to show you is that what I did, I had to glue on a ring, a thread ring, what do you call them? Step down and step up ring with araldite and make it permanent. This lens that I bought for $140 off eBay was all smashed, this rim here, and there was no thread. So I put a step down and step up ring on the front of it. There was nothing to thread it to, so I just glued it on place with araldite. And I had to, araldite kind of is clear or opaque, so I put in some fountain pen ink and mixed it all together to make a black araldite, and therefore get rid of any light coming in from funny spaces where I don't want it to come in. So a reasonably Frankensteinish looking build, and it works really, really well. Interestingly, what I'm finding though is that because the base of this anamorphic lens is resting on top of the filter, I put a filter so that I wouldn't be touching the lens of the FD telephoto with the base of the anamorphic, so the filter's getting damaged, but it's from around the sides where it's not affecting the image. That presses down hard on the filter, and it's pretty close to the lens of the FD, so there's a little bit of light leak that comes in, but it's not enough to make it really bad. So if anything, I need more light rather than less light, so it's actually working to help me yeah, get a better image. So this Frankenstein lens is awesome. This is my permanent setup for this CinemaScope FrankeinLens, I'm going to call it, and I love it. And I just wanted to share with you that's what I've done. I've coloured the araldite black so that I can do light sensitive work, repairs and fixes. So that's why that's there, and this is why I pulled all this out here. I'm going to do the same thing again, because this again is being it's light sensitive, so I want to make sure no light is leaking, because where this is broken, I believe, yeah, it's actually it's not so bad. I thought it was going to be hitting the camera. It's actually on the other side, I think. Oh, yeah, it's on the camera side. So I want to make sure that the camera is not getting too much light in there, upsetting exposure. So I'm going to put some black araldite in place over here in the corner. Not so much that I can't get it off again when I get replacement parts. So I'll just mix up a little bit of araldite here, and then apply that, and hey presto, we're back into flight again. Now I've busted the propellers. Yeah, there's a leakage there. Yuck. I hate araldite like that. Anyway, what I'm going to do is just use this little tray here. So before I do that, I'll do the ink that I'm using as well. So just black fountain pen ink. Alfie making his noises. Yeah, I've got araldite goopy stuff everywhere. Alright, so I'm going to mix this up. Don't need a lot, so it's like, I don't know, probably 2 mils. These are only 4 mil containers, so it's not 2 mil, it's like 0.2 of a mil. It's a 1-to-1 mix, so araldite's got 2 parts of resin and a glue. I think it's just glue, but it might be called something else anyway. And it's got a paddle stick, so we just use that paddle stick and first of all mix that together. Now I'm reluctant just to put ink in straight away because I think the chemicals, there's probably going to be a chemical reaction independent to the 2 parts of the araldite glue, and so if I put the ink in before it's all mixed, it might upset the chemical properties of one or the other and therefore reduce the strength of the, or increase the strength, I don't know what the outcome would be, of the araldite itself. So I'm just going to mix it up first and then put the fountain ink dye in, and then it shouldn't upset, or if it does upset it, maybe to a lesser degree, maybe to a greater degree, I don't know. This is like an idea that I thought would be bad to try out. So now it's got this silly thing spills everywhere, I've noticed, so I've got to be careful. It's kind of got a bluish tint to it as well. I can't remember what I did to get the ink out of there without spilling it everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try and not spill it anywhere, but do it this way. Yeah, this is always dangerous. All you need is a little bit, like a dollop, a drop. There we go, I got way too much. Alright, so I spilled a little bit. I'm just going to go to the sink and spill that out in the sink. Alright, let that dry. So we're going to mix this up, make sure we get nice black colour all through the araldite. And it doesn't appear to be making it more sticky or less sticky. It's a little bit liquidy, but maybe that means that it's going to be easier to take apart down the track. Alright, so all I'm going to do is just put a tiny little bit in the corner. I might put it on the Spark itself. So what I'll do, just going to dollop a little bit. I'll put it on the top part. Whoa, too much. So I'm going to use gravity to let it kind of filter in itself. A little bit there. And then maybe a little bit there. Don't know if you can see that or not. Just going to use like the bare minimum so that I can tear it off again. Now it goes, there's a particular orientation. So that's the back, that's the front. So what I'm going to do is pop that in there. No, I'm not. Give that a go again. Alright, so that's now resting in place. It's got my dirty finger marks all over it. So I'll clean that up once it's all dry. Now, I'm going to put more of this black in here so that it hides the hole and provides a bit of strength. And if it works like this down the track, I'm not going to even bother replacing the lens. So make sure it doesn't go just inside the innards of it all. Alright, so that's probably all I'm going to do there. So that's black. Now I'm going to leave it upside down so that if it does drip, it's not going to drip into the camera. And there you go. We have done a araldite repair. I don't know about you guys, but araldite I love. It's just such a versatile kind of substance that you can make it as a filler and join things that don't normally join together. Yeah, I love it. I've been using it for years. My dad put me onto it when I broke a toy gun. He repaired it with araldite, and I'll never forget it. That toy is still around from that repair. So there you go. That is. There's one other thing I wanted to show you. The propellers. What I've decided to do. When I bought the Spark, let's put that away, I don't need that anymore. When I bought the Spark, it came with these guards, and if I'd had these guards on when I was flying this yesterday, it probably wouldn't have done as much damage. So what I'm going to do in confined spaces from now on, I'm going to attach these guards and protect the whole device a lot more by doing that. So I'll show you what I mean. It's really easy to attach. If you've got a DJI Spark and you want to know is it worthwhile using these or not, it's worth it. The performance is the same. I can't tell any difference between using these and not using them. I think it's a what do you call it? It's a pride thing where you think, no, it's like training wheels. You think to yourself, no, I'm better than that, I don't need these. But I'll tell you what, I've been flying the drones here for a couple of years. I'm not bad, I'm not great, but I'm going to use them from now on in confined spaces just so that it saves me time and money having to do this kind of stuff. Because with these guards in place, the device would be still intact, I can tell you now. Because what happens is, obviously the propellers have hit, I'll show you the footage, but you'll see it. It hits something and then just spins out and bang, it's gone. These things here, 2 of them fell off. I had 2 crashes yesterday because of this. So I could have lost these parts here, which I don't know if they're necessary or not, but the little feet here, they smashed off. I was luckily able to find them, and my friend Ian got the other one for me. Just out of interest also, you need to know that the propellers have got specific ways of being attached. I used to think that you could just get away with putting any propeller on any rotor, but there's actually a coded way of attaching these propeller blades. So these are the spares I got with the what's it called? I can't remember. Long flight, extra flight, long life, whatever it was called. These propellers came as spares with the Spark when I bought it. So I've already replaced one of the propellers yesterday because I lost it. I don't know where it got to. So you can't tell, but I'll take it off so you can see. So to take these off, you've got to hold the motor, press down, and then counterclockwise for some and clockwise for others to remove it. So this one here, I don't think you can see it, but that's got a massive crack on it. It's hit something and then totally cracked it. Still works, but I just wonder how long it's going to last. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to keep them as kind of a backup spare. Now that one does not have a little white circle in the middle. I'll show you on the new ones. See, that one's the same as that one, which is just no circle, blank. That one's the same, no circle, blank. This one here, it's got a circle on it. See there? that circle corresponds to the rotor with another circle on it. So these must be replaced circle for circle, no circle for no circle. I don't know why. Probably to do with the way the rotor is actually spinning. If you look carefully, you'll see that this blade and this blade, this one's pointing upwards in this orientation, and this one also is pointing upwards, which means one is spinning in the opposite direction. They do that so that the drone is counterbalancing itself. If all the rotors spun in the same direction, the thing would just spin out of control. But because one is spinning in the opposite direction on each side, it cancels out the forces for both and it makes it stable. So that's why these diagonally are spinning in the same direction and these are spinning in the same direction, but they're different directions when they compare to each other this way. So it's important that you put the correct blade or rotor on the correct motor. So that's one that needs to be replaced. This is one I replaced yesterday. So this one here is now going to be a spare. So I'm holding the motor, pushing in, turning counterclockwise for the circular one, and I'm putting spares over there. So that's, it's also got white markings. See, this one does not have any white markings. This one has got white markings, so you can tell, just in case you lose the rotor completely and you don't know which is which. The white circle and the white markings match. So you push it in, turn clockwise, that locks it in place. So I've got the two white circular ones replaced now. That's an old blade. I'm going to replace it. Might as well make them all new, and I'll keep, so this one here is clockwise to release. So I'm going to get a new one in there. So counterclockwise to lock in, and likewise with this new one on this side, holding the rotor or engine, and then counterclockwise to lock in. They all store nicely like that. So that's now brand new rotors. Because I've got brand new rotors, I'm going to put these spares in these containers that I've got here from the newer ones. So I lost one of the rotors completely, so I'll buy some new ones soon. To attach the guards, you basically turn the Spark upside down. It's a locking hinge arrangement, and again, these have got the white markings for white and black for black, so to speak. So where the white circle is and the white marking on the motor is, there's a white marking also on the guard, so they're matching that way. So all you do is, so it's got a mechanism where you push this in on the arm and then you fold that across and click it in place, and it's got a handy kind of a lever that you can lift up and it unlocks and then releases it. So you put it on, twist it so that it goes over the arm, and then lock it in place. Likewise, we've got the white on diagonally opposite, so there's a white dot on this one here, so that goes on there in a similar way. Pretty cool design, I must say. DJI seem to have done a good job on engineering and design. So again, this has got no white markings, so it's safe to go on the others, the diagonally opposite there as well. So you can see it makes it into a bit of a cumbersome setup, and it's looking a lot bigger, but in those confined spaces, this is what I'm going to be using from now on to save myself from having to destroy my drone. The performance hit for this, there's a slight weight increase, so you'll see a very, very minimal battery drain. The flight is no difference. I've noticed no difference whatsoever. Speed, maneuverability is not impacted at all. You can tell it's been smashed a couple of times already here. I've got some scuff marks on it, so it saved it from death previously. I don't know why I got out of the habit of using it. I think just laziness. So this will be the setup I use in confined spaces. If I'm doing high altitude, no buildings around type flights, I won't bother putting these on. but where there's trees, power lines, fences in particular, in a confined spot, I'm going to use these guards from now on. I don't know how much they cost if you haven't got them, but I can't imagine they're too dear, and a very, very worthwhile, good expense, I would think. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and good to go. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you like this, please give me a thumbs up. I know I'm upside down, but just imagine it's me looking at you with my eyeballs. And subscribe and like, and hit that that notification bell as well, so you can see the next video when it comes out. Thanks guys, bye.